Good evening and welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals for Monday, October 7th, 2024. The first item on our agenda is the determination of a quorum. If the secretary will please take the roll.
Mr. Crowley?
Present.
Mr. Hanlon?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Present.
Mr. Cooper is absent. Mr. Powell?
Here.
Ms. Horner here. Ms. Narduzzi?
Here, we have a quorum. Thank you. The next item is public participation. I do believe the folks in our audience are here regarding their particular agenda items this evening, so we'll move to old business. We received the minutes from our last meeting of August 19th, 2024. I think some minor corrections were made.
They were made.
Okay.
I didn't print them out, though.
Okay, that's fine. So if we can have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected, please.
Motion to approve the minutes as corrected. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those minutes are approved. Thank you. We do have 3 items on our agenda this evening. The first is BZ 24-012. Our applicant is Cam Inc. The location of the variance request is 1100 High Street in a C3 commercial district. And the variance request is to plat 2 new lots on High Street that do not meet the minimum lot frontage and lot width at building line requirements. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yeah, you might be aware the applicants are in the process of redeveloping the Valley View towing site. They were in here earlier this year for a variance regarding one of the potential developments that would go on the site. And they're back because looking to replat the property, found out that 2 of the lots that they would create wouldn't meet the lot frontage or lot width requirements on High Street. So what you see up there now is the layout of the lots as they exist now. Okay, so the development site really consists of 4 parcels, city lots 5480, 5546, 6803, and 6804 down here. And if you look at the frontage requirements, right now the lots don't even meet the requirements because the total amount of frontage is roughly 260 feet. There's no way you can divide that in 2 and still maintain 150 feet for both lots. So what they're attempting to do is take these 4 lots and replant them, and here's what they would create. 3 new lots, 2 of them with frontage on High, and the third, which would be behind these 2, but it would have direct access off of Smoke Rise Drive. So in order for them to get this plat recorded, the variance would be required. Again, I'd note that the key reason they're required is that the existing lots currently don't meet the requirements. And with only about 251 feet of frontage, it's really not possible to create 2 lots, each of which are going to have 150 feet. However, I think the current situation has existed probably before these lots even came into the city. I think what they're doing here is going to really fix the problem because you may be able to see it on your drawing, but the way the site will develop, there's one point of ingress egress off of High Street that would split the parcels. They would build a private drive to serve not only these lots, but it would come back onto the larger lot. That's the one that required a variance given the size of the internal storage facility that would be built there. So again, we're really not creating any more non-conformities than what already exists. We're just kind of redivvying the property. So I just really don't see any issues. The lots meet all other requirements, and the site plans, they did submit one for the Westfield Bank on the south lot. It meets all of the zoning requirements, even though it doesn't meet the lot width requirements. So to me, that's a sign that we have more than enough land to make it work. So again, I'm certainly in favor of the variances, and recommend that you review 154, 561C. You consider any input you receive here tonight, but crowds look rather sparse.
Okay, any questions for Jeff?
So what would the actual variances request be then?
Well, we don't have new lot numbers here, so I would just say a variance to plat 2 lots with frontage on High Street that don't meet the 150-foot lot width. It's the lot frontage and lot width at building line requirements. Both of those requirements are 150 feet.
Okay, can you run through that again?
Yeah, I would just, a variance to grant, a motion to grant a variance allowing 2 new lots to be platted with frontage on High Street, neither of which meet the C3 district lot width and lot frontage requirement of 150 feet. And if you need to, give it an address and just say the property is known as 1100 High Street. Because again, going back here, it actually is part of 2 lots that will be replatted. These numbers go away, new numbers will be assigned.
And this is just the plating. This isn't regarding any building construction,
Nope,
variances to the setbacks or anything. This
No.
is just regarding the plat.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, any other questions? No? Okay, at this time, I will declare the public hearing open. This has already been given to police, fire, and the other agencies here in the city, so I will ask the applicant to come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and give us any additional information you'd like the board to consider, please.
My name is Jeff Mockbee, 1525 Corporate Woods Parkway, Uniontown, 44685, from CAM Incorporated. I think Jeff did a really great job. But basically, we'd have one lot that's going to be 13 feet short, approximately, of the 150-foot width, and the other one, 27
I think it was
feet.
like 114,
So that's,
113 and 137.
thank you, sir. So it's just really reallocating that east-west property line between the northern and southern lots to make them function. Again, there's no other zoning requirement or variances we're requesting. The setbacks are fine, parking's fine. It's just it's a housekeeping thing, for lack of a better word on that. And we respectfully request if you could make this approval.
Seems you kind of inherited that, I think.
Yes.
So to speak. Yeah, okay. All right, any questions for Jeff, please? The other Jeff, that Jeff? No?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak with regard to the case? No? Okay, any concluding comments before we?
No, I think it's again,
I think
it's
it
more
is
of a housekeeping
housekeeping.
issue.
Yep,
They're
I would
taking
agree.
that one property line and basically shifting it, moving
Okay,
from, moving a little bit further south and creating larger lots out of it.
okay. If there's no further discussion, if we can have a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Again, this is really just kind of cleaning things up a little bit for our applicant, unbeknownst to them until they got the measuring tapes out. So if we can have a motion from the board regarding BZ 24012, please.
I'll move to have a variance to replat 2 lots facing High Street that do not currently comply with the zoning requirements of 150 feet. Replatting these will allow that 150-foot requirement.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hanlon?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Powell? Yes. Ms. Horner, yes. Ms. Narduzzi?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Keep rolling on. How's your progress?
We're getting there.
Good.
Is it the last meeting you basically?
That's it with us right now. I think everything else is now take the civil plans to engineering, start that review. Okay.
Received that draft.
Yeah, I sent those on to the person who drafted it, the attorney who drafted it, and hopefully we'll wrap that up at the same time as civil plans. Okay?
Okay. All right, great. So I'm going to move on to our second case. Our applicant in BZ 24-013 is Gerald Jernasik. The variance request is to construct a 6-foot privacy fence along secondary street frontages considered front yards by the zoning code. This is at 215 Grandview in an R4 residential district. If we could have a staff report, please.
Okay, applicant would like to enclose their backyard with a fence, 6-foot high privacy fence, but technically it's actually a triple fronted lot. Aerial shows that it's right at the intersection of Grandview and Garfield, and actually Garfield becomes a public alley, still with the same name behind the house. So the lot's technically triple fronted. The fence would basically align with the house. They would kind of cut the corner a bit because it does appear that a portion of the roadway encroaches onto their property. So they would basically enclose it. There's also in the mix putting in a roughly 12 by 30 patio with a walkway. That's really not an issue for the board. It's just the whole fencing idea. Again, this is what they submitted to kind of show what the backyard looks like. You can kind of see this is the Garfield alley. There's Garfield Street and the house. So they would come in and basically enclose this area with the fence. Without the variance, one, they'd be limited to a fence height of only 4 feet, non-privacy material. But going back to some of the aerials, this one here shows the best. Really, it's not going to have any impact on neighbors. There's only 2 homes, I believe, that actually front on the Garfield alley. The house south of him, the driveway is accessed off of Garfield, but I believe that house also faces Grandview. So it's just an older neighborhood, smaller lots, kind of in the old grid pattern of streets that still exist.
Okay. Any questions for Jeff? Okay, at this time I will declare the public hearing open. We've had these items before, particularly when you've got a lot that's encumbered there on the corner like that. So again, this has been already posed to our other agencies, so we'll ask Mr. Jernasik to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and give us any additional information you'd like the board to consider.
My name is Gerald Jernasik. My wife got me to move down here about 6 years ago from Kirtland up north. Great community, do enjoy it. Just want a nice safe space for her with a little more privacy. Just the way things are right now, we're not upgrading homes. We're not stuck, but we're here for the foreseeable future. And just to be able to have a little more privacy. Our neighbors are older, always sitting on the front porch. We can just talk to each other all day if we were all outside. Not that I don't want to do that, but with the park across the street, more strangers. I have the stadium right across the street. A lot of times people will park around, even where the stone is on my driveway. Is there a way to get like a police order, no parking there?
You would have to contact them.
I've had people park in front of my garage and leave to the stadium.
Typically, they're not supposed to do that.
No, I get that.
Call the police.
But just a privacy fence for her.
Sure.
Nothing more.
Good luck with that. Okay, thank you.
Charge $10.
Yeah, make some. Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? No. Okay, staff, any concluding comments? No. Like I said, we run into this, we encounter this situation very common with usually double fronted, but not triple fronted.
Yeah.
So, in any case, okay. Is there any discussion amongst the board? No. If I can have a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Again, no discussion on this. If we can have a case, motion regarding the case, please.
Okay, on case number BZ 24-013, located at 215 Grandview Avenue, we make a motion to grant the variance to construct a 6-foot privacy fence along the secondary street frontages that are considered front yards by the zoning code.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes?
Mr. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Hanlon?
Yes.
Mr. Powell? Yes. Ms. Horner, yes. Ms. Narduzzi?
Yes, motion passes. Congratulations. Good luck to you. Thank you so much. Now, our third case this evening, I don't know that we have an applicant present. Should we proceed according? Thank you. Should we
Well, you know what,
proceed
since
or?
we scheduled the public hearing, why don't I just give the presentation? You can ask for comments, obviously no one's here. And then I'll leave it up to you. If you want to table action and have them here to ask questions, we can certainly do that. But let me see if I can pull up that case.
This one is one of those, tends to be a little sticky wicket when you want to put an outbuilding
Yeah.
right so close to the property lines.
Yeah, I had some, well, open up. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Well, in this particular case, the applicant, let me rotate this a bit. They're at 681 Hillcrest Drive. It's on the south side of the street. They want to construct a shed in their backyard that's closer to the rear and side yards than the code permits. Typically, there's a 5-foot minimum setback, and I believe they want to reduce that to 2 feet. There was some confusion regarding the application. The way, you could read it either way, and I misread it, thinking they were looking for a 2-foot variance to allow a 3-foot setback. It was really the other way. They were looking for a 3-foot variance to put the shed at the 2 feet from the corner. Originally, it was to be here at the southeast corner. They came into the office on Thursday and said, well, we want to maybe move it over here instead where it's going to be more shaded by these trees. So I said, well, make that case at the board meeting on Monday, which unfortunately they're not here to do that. So again, the reason that was explained to me for requesting that setback is to make the best use of what remains of their backyard. It was a little tighter when the proposed shed was over here, because you can see they've got a fairly substantial patio or deck, and that would have kind of stuck out in the into the backyard a little bit more. Applicant also noted that, well, you know what, we wouldn't be setting a precedent because my neighbor here to my west also got a similar variance years ago. And yeah, I did find that back in November of 2005, there was a variance that would allow this owner to put the shed no closer than 1 foot from the property line. And the reason that shows the 1 foot is you can see there is actually a fence there. So we figured if it's within the fence line, it's in their property, it'll just be their maintenance issue, you know, to be able to get back there to take care of it. So as we've discussed in previous cases, when we reduce the setbacks, I think 2 feet's about as close as you want to go, because the shed may have a roof overhang. You want to be able to get a mower back there or to get a body back there to paint or maintain it. So that's why I did recommend that the applicants not go any less than 2 feet. Again, that's all I have tonight, and I will leave it up to the board. If you have questions or want to hear more from the applicant, we can, after you close the public hearing, we could table this and have them show up at our next meeting. If you're okay with what's being asked, then you might be able to offer approval without their presence.
Do you know how big the shed was from the 2005 case?
Oh, no, this one was 10 by, what's proposed here was 10 by 16, so it's 160
That's pretty
square feet. This one here looks like it's about, boy, it's hard to say. That's about,
They're proposing 10 by 16.
And that's
they're
pretty-
proposing 10 by 16. The one next to it, I would say, is somewhere between 10 to 14 or 12 by 14. So they're similar in size.
So the last variance given was for 1 foot?
Yeah, that was to the property here at 673.
It was inside a fence.
Yeah. And again, looking at the area, you can see where the fence is, the proposed parking lot. I believe the applicants are here now. So we will be able to hear from them, I do believe.
Hi, are you the Bradys? Are you the Bradys? I am. Okay. Okay. We were just reading your application, so. Go ahead, please have a seat.
Did police or fire comment on this as far as the 1 foot versus 2 foot?
They don't really have much concerns. It's really more of a, is there room to get around and maintain?
Right, and keep the grass cut.
Right.
Okay.
They can come in from actually 3 properties if they have to.
Okay,
If you're
just
coming
one,
from here.
just 1 second, John. Okay, thanks.
Also, just looking at this particular view, this was from the city's GIS. There are no utilities. What you see up front is storm and water. Sanitary is on the other side of the street. So there is no real issue with interference with any public utilities either. And when the applicant gets a chance to address, like I had mentioned, I had heard that originally they wanted the shed in the southwest corner. It may be moving here to the southeast.
Okay, any questions for Jeff? Okay.
So I have, the variance is just for the back of the lot,
For the side and rear.
for side?
The way I understand it, they want to put
Oh,
it
yes,
two,
I'm sorry.
2 feet to the side, 2 feet to the rear.
And the square footage, the size of the proposed isn't in,
No
okay.
issues.
Okay, all right. Okay, if there's no further questions of Jeff, I will declare the public hearing open. Again, this has been put forth before our police and fire already, so since our applicant has arrived, I will invite her to the podium. Please give the board your name and address for the record and offer us any additional information you'd like the board to consider, please. Okay, that's fine. Okay, come on up to the podium, please. Sorry.
Hi, I'm John Sharkey. I live at 682 Deer Crest. They live at 681 Hillcrest. We are backdoor neighbors. And the weird-looking roof down in the center of the property on the map is my property. Mrs. Brady requests this variance. The hardships it creates is, number one, they have to store seasonal items in their garage now. They have 2 vehicles. And, you know, at our age, it's not easy to clear off a vehicle in snows and ice. And this would allow them to store their seasonal items inside, and it would allow them to keep both vehicles in the garage. The other hardship is that it would tear up a lot more of their property. And all it does is creates a wider strip behind the shed that nobody can use. So by reducing it down, it would allow them to utilize their property to the greatest potential. Precedent, there's no precedence here. One of the sheds that you can't see because of my tree is right on the property line, or within 6 inches of the property line on me, and within probably 2-3 feet of Mrs. Brady. So we're not setting any precedents by allowing the shed to be constructed or brought in there. I think that's pretty much it.
And the size of,
I have talked to 3, I'm one of them, of the 4 neighbors personally about this. As a matter of fact, when we staked this out, there was 2 of us there, and nobody has any problems with it. Gene has talked to, Mrs. Brady has talked to the other neighbor, and no one has any objections.
and the size of the shed, there's no, in that development, there's no size of the
Same
shed?
size as mine.
Okay.
Same size, I think, as the one next to you. Yeah, it's pretty much just an everyday, you know.
10 by 16 is
Hey,
pretty big.
John, I do have one question. Is the location of the shed going to move? I had heard it was going to be down here, if you can see my cursor.
Correct.
And now I'd heard that maybe they want to move it over here.
Correct.
Is that,
It will be on the second location.
John, can you get in front of the microphone, please?
I'm sorry.
That's
They
okay.
can't pick you up. You know that. You know that, John.
Okay, originally it was, move the curve, yes, it was originally there. However, if you look at the deck, if you set that out, there's not very much space between the two. It's very narrow after you put the shed there. So by moving it to the other end, it allows greater access and usability than of the whole yard. Because you could, it was very narrow. What was it between the shed and the deck?
Just like a foot and a half.
Yeah, so it just made more sense to move it to the other end.
Okay, and it is,
keep in mind, remember, these aerial photos are not 100% accurate. So I think the rear property line, which you see here, you know, the red line here, is probably, the whole thing should be shifted up to right about here. Okay?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, is that that's off. So then if you use the actual property line, which lines up with the neighbor's fence, then all of a sudden, even a 10-foot deck this way is going to put it real close, and it's going to be kind of sticking out in front of that pergola that's on the deck.
Correct. Yeah, that tree that's in the center there, that's on my property.
Okay.
That's good 3 feet in on my property.
Yeah, so, and again, so moving it over here, it's somewhat obscured by the trees on some of the neighbors there to the south and west, and it puts it further away from the porch and patio and what looks to be the steps into the backyard. So it probably makes more sense to free up as much yard space as possible.
Doesn't chop it up.
okay, and Mrs. Brady is aware that, Ms. Brady, I'm sorry, not more than 2 feet from the property line then. It's what your application's asking for, okay. Okay, any questions for the applicant from the board? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess any concluding comments or discussion amongst the board members?
No, I think just as part of the motion, just indicate that, just to clear, the variances would be to the, along the south and east
East.
property line. So that way we know the location is moving.
Okay. Okay. We can have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Okay, so if we can have, if there's no further discussion, if we can have a motion concerning case BZ 24-014, variance to reduce the side and rear yard setback, please.
All right, I'll make a motion for BZ 24-014 for property located at 681 Hillcrest Drive to grant a variance to reduce the side and rear yard setback, which is the southeast corner of the property, from 5 foot to 2 feet.
To place a 10 by 16 storage shed. Yep,
Place a
okay.
10 by 16 storage.
Okay, yep, thank you. Okay,
Second.
motion made and seconded by Terry. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Crowley?
No.
Mr. Hanlon?
Yes.
Ms. Horner, I'm going to abstain. Ms. Narduzzi?
Yes. Motion passes.
So what was the final vote, 4 to 1?
4 to 1.
1, 2, 3,
4 to 1
4
with
to
one
1.
abstain, okay. Okay, yeah, the variance does pass.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thanks. Okay, is there any other business to be brought before the board?
No, let me think here. Our next meeting would be on the 21st, and I believe that deadline has passed, no new cases, so this will wrap it up for
October?
October.
My gosh.
And then-
November, your first meeting always falls the day before the general
Election.
election, so there'll be no meeting then.
Okay.
We may meet again on the 18th of November.
All right. If there's nothing further, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good night.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.